Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will demonstrate how to propagate this beautiful Alocasia Regal Shield from CORMS. While it might seem complicated, I assure you it's a straightforward process. I encourage you to stick around until the end of this video to meet this adorable little plant. This Alocasia Regal Shield is approximately 4 years old, and I've had her for nearly 3 years. I keep her in front of a north-facing window alongside my other plants. Alocasia Regal Shield features large, shield-shaped leaves that can grow up to a foot or more in length. The leaves are glossy and deep green, with prominent veins that add to their ornamental appeal. The leaf shape and pattern resemble a regal shield, hence the name. If you want to learn more about caring for this beauty in detail, you can check out my other video. I'll leave a link in the description. Now, let's begin the propagation process. But first, let me provide you with a brief overview of CORMS. CORMS are underground storage structures found in certain plants. They are similar in function to bulbs, but have a different structure. CORMS store energy and nutrients that the plant can use during periods of dormancy or stress. Unlike bulbs, which have layers of fleshy leaves, CORMS are solid, swollen stems. As the plant matures, CORMS can multiply and give rise to new shoots, allowing for propagation and the growth of new plants. In the case of the Alocasia Regal Shield, CORM division is a common method of propagation to create new plants. The corms of the Alocasia Regal Shield plant often develop beneath the soil, making them visible when you decide to repot your plant, as they are deeply nestled within the root system. However, in some instances, these corms exhibit a fascinating behavior. They extend their stems above the soil's surface, stretching out in search of the space needed to establish new roots. This intriguing behavior mirrors their natural growth patterns in the wild. Nevertheless, when we cultivate them in pots, a little assistance is required. We must intervene and facilitate the propagation process by carefully relocating these emerging corms to a new, nurturing environment. To separate the corms, you can sometimes break the stem, but I recommend using clean scissors to make a clean cut. When dividing them, it's a good idea to trim off the remaining stem that is connected to the plant, because it will eventually rot over time. Now, I'll demonstrate how to trim off the other corms I've discovered. When the stem and corm are underground, you can gently dig a bit, being careful not to damage the roots, and then proceed to make the cut. It's safe to divide them when they have reached a size similar to mine. If the corm hasn't fully formed yet, give it some time to develop. Leave it in the ground to promote faster growth. I currently have 3 corms, as the 4th one was quite small, so I decided to leave it to grow further. It's best to prepare the materials before separating the corms, to prevent them from drying out. Here's what you'll need: a transparent plastic container or plastic glass, a lid or something to cover it, and perlite. Perlite is an excellent choice for propagating corms because it maintains moisture consistently, which is crucial for the corm's propagation process. Before placing the corms in the perlite, we should prepare them. If the corms have a dark outer layer, try to remove it with a knife or your nails. If it doesn't separate easily, leave it as it is and repeat the removing procedure after 48 hours. Removing this outer layer will make it much easier for roots to emerge. You can also leave it without removing this layer, but it will take much longer time to start developing roots. Now, cut off the remaining stem, it's not needed. The critical step is to ensure the corm is positioned correctly for rooting. The side where the stem was attached should face downward. This is the side that will develop roots. The other side, which is the top, is where new leaves will begin to grow. Now the crops are ready for propagation. I will be using a plastic glass for this propagation because I can easily cut holes at the edges. Then, I'll place it in a shallow tray, where I'll add water. This will allow the perlite to remain consistently moist with the right level of humidity. Add the perlite to the container or glass, filling it to around 1/3 capacity, leaving ample space for the leaves to grow further. I always wash the perlite before use to ensure it's adequately moist. You can do this by soaking it in water for about 15 minutes, then draining it before use. Gently place the corms onto the perlite without pressing too firmly. Ensure that half of the corm is submerged in the perlite. As I mentioned earlier, keep in mind the orientation of the corms. For successful propagation, it's important to position the corms in a well-lit area while avoiding direct sunlight. They require a light, warm, and moist environment to kickstart their rooting process. The transparent glass or container provides ample light from all sides, while the lid helps maintain the necessary moisture levels. Remember, never allow the perlite to dry out completely, as it could harm the developing roots. These are essential tips for a successful corm propagation. Before covering the container, give the corms and the inner walls of the container a gentle spray with water. Next, fill the tray with water. Remember to regularly add water to the tray to ensure the perlite remains moist. Additionally, spray the corms with water when you notice that the container is drying out. Now, place the container in its new location and patiently await the results. These are the results after 17 days. As you can see, the largest corm is unfurling its first leaf. The other two are progressing well, but they require more time. I'll be leaving them for 1 more week. A week later, so in total, less than a month has passed since I placed them for propagation. The largest corm looks perfect, and the other two have rooted well and started to grow. I'll give them a bit more time. Now, I'll transfer the new baby plant into its own pot. Let me show you the process. This time, I'll be using a mixture of 50% perlite and 50% aerate potting mix. I don't recommend transferring the plant directly into soil at this stage, because the roots are still young and accustomed to the moist perlite. This proportion will provide them with the space they need to acclimate better to the new pot. Mix the perlite and the soil thoroughly. This time, I'm using dry perlite because it can become quite sticky when mixed with soil. When potting the plant, select the right-sized pot. It should be small, considering the growth of the plant, but keep in mind that Alocasia Regal prefers to be root-bound, so opt for a smaller pot. Also, never use pots without drainage, it can be detrimental to your plant's health. Fill the pot halfway and gently remove the plant from the perlite. It should come out easily without much effort. Take a look at its roots. They look amazing, clean, and healthy. Remember, if the corm doesn't have at least 2 roots, leave it in the perlite and give it more time. Now, position the plant in the center of the pot and add more of the mixture until the pot is completely filled. If necessary, gently press down to firm it, but do so with care. Then, provide the plant with plenty of water. I recommend soaking it for 15 minutes to allow the perlite and soil to absorb sufficient moisture. After 15 minutes, drain any excess water and place the pot in a tray or another container. If possible, I recommend covering the entire plant for the first few days because it's accustomed to humidity and was initially covered. Gradually, uncover it a little each day. In any case, keep it in an environment with a minimum of 60% humidity, provide good indirect light, maintain warmth, and ensure proper watering. I hope this propagation process has helped you find the answers you were seeking. If you like my content, please support my channel by clicking on the subscribe button. It means a lot to me, and it's completely free for you. Thanks for watching.